Don't
look at that.
Got
Look
it.
at the cameras.
Okay. Oh, cameras, not
All right,
y'all.
I'm going to count it down. 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everyone. Here we are. It's Winning Women's Wednesday.
Yes, it is. You know, I have this itch though one time to be like, "Good morning, Vietnam."
I know, right?
I'm like,
I know.
Seriously, like this is where we're at. Okay,
We have way too much power with these microphones.
Yes. Okay. Got it out of my system now.
Okay, we did
Good
it.
morning.
We did it. Good morning. I've got my amazing co-host, Miss Ashley Gentry here. And in the middle with us, our fabulous guest, Brittney Fleischman. How are you this morning?
I am fabulous. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of
I'm excited
course,
to be
of
here.
course.
We've got 3 really different hairstyles going on here, though. So, because we're like, but the pre-show, we're all like sitting here trying to do it, but I'm looking and I'm like, you know, yours is short and it's got all the layers, and then she's
Because I had to
curly.
go brunette because of the stress of real estate. My hair's falling out.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
It's
So
great.
there's that.
I mean, I lobbed off a lot of mine too, but it's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
So we get 3 live wires today.
Yeah, we do. And we've got
Okay.
the curls over here, which I love. It reminds me of my daughter. So
Yes.
it's so fun. So fun.
thanks.
Yeah. There's just a certain sassiness with the curls.
There is
Yeah.
sass.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
Yes. So awesome. Awesome.
Good. We have Sass here with us today, so let's get into it.
All right. Brittney, tell us a little about you.
Yeah. So I am a mortgage lender
Awesome.
and I am a mother of 2 adorable boys, which of course I'm a mother. I think they're adorable, but they are.
How old are they?
They're 3 and 5.
That's why you think they're adorable. I'm like,
How old are they? We don't think that forever. Right now, they're really cute.
like my 18-year-old daughter, like I had to pull her out of bed this morning to get her going because they're on fall break.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what is that?
We had that recently. Yeah. And then they're cute until they wake up at 1 a.m. And they're like, let's play things and do science. That was the thing recently. I want to do science at 1 a.m. I'm like, I'm glad you like
word.
science, but I don't do anything.
I don't like science at
At
12
1
p.m., okay? Let alone 1 a.m.
Wow.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good job, Brittany.
Yeah. I didn't do it. I went back to bed. Anyway.
Smart.
But by day, I help people buy houses on the
Awesome.
money side of things. So in a former life, I was a bookkeeper, worked for a nonprofit. I was also a life coach,
Okay.
which actually really does come in handy.
Oh, for
in
sure.
mortgage, I tell my clients, I'm like, never go to bed stressed over your mortgage. Like, just text me. I go to bed early, like when my kids do.
Yeah, exactly.
So if I don't answer you, I'm not ignoring you, but I am asleep.
Yeah.
But you can text me. Don't ever go to bed stressed because probably I can solve it for you in like 2 minutes and you'll at least feel better.
That's awesome.
So,
Beautiful
That's awesome.
way to encourage sanity.
So
I like that.
I didn't
We need
know.
it.
Yes, we
I didn't know the life coaching piece. Tell me this.
Yeah.
I'm life coaching and all the things. So
Oh,
how,
I do not life coach. I need to be coached for my life. We'll just put that. We'll put that out there.
we
We
all
can
do.
have like
We
a
all
hot
do.
seat where we just
I-
coach.
yeah,
I'm
let's just coach.
kidding.
Put me in the middle next time.
Yes.
And then you guys just tear me apart. I love it.
Life Coach Wednesday.
Yeah.
It happened because I was getting my master's in theology. Also,
Okay.
random fact that I don't use in
Like, do you
mortgage.
see me getting so excited right now?
And here's me. I'm like,
Well, I'm getting my PhD in psychology and I'm doing religion as well.
I
So-
almost did psychology.
Yeah.
And I wish
Oh
I
my
would
God.
have, to be fair, because you can do a lot more with that. I'm like, don't. Anyway, side note.
I'm like horrified by the two of you. Do you want me to exit over here with Rick and we'll just hang out? And then you guys.
you
No,
are so much
because-
fun. I want to hang out with you forever.
We're like so boring over here. Like
the most boring.
yes, yes. The science and the psychology. Oh my goodness.
Got
so,
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But my, I don't know, one of the people at the school was like, hey, you could do this minor in life coaching and I think
That's
you'd
fun.
be good at it. And then I really enjoyed it, which also is how I got into mortgage. Someone was like, hey, I have a job for you. I think you'd be good at it. I was like, I'll do it for 2 years because it's more money than I'm making today.
Right.
I was a bookkeeper for a nonprofit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I loved it.
Yeah.
And that was 10 years ago.
Because let's be honest, Ashley, you can speak into this as well. How much psychology, how much coaching and counseling do we give our clients
Every day.
every day?
That's why I play pickleball 92 times a day. In fact, I did it twice yesterday. I did it in the morning.
Yes,
and
you did.
Then
You called
in the
me both
evening,
times.
Yeah, and then I was like, I'm just so stressed. I'm either going to start day drinking or I need to go play pickleball.
Yeah.
So at least I'm choosing appropriately.
Good choice.
That is
good
a
choice.
good choice.
Thank
I'm
you.
an advocate of the fit. I'm like, I do push-ups. I used to just get really angry and
Oh,
do
look,
push-ups.
the arms.
Now
Yeah,
I do.
yeah.
Now I do children and push-ups because I'm angry.
Okay.
It's fine.
But no, I mean, so much of our job entails psychology and
Yes.
working through the emotions of people.
Yeah.
Totally. We're working with them in one of the most stressful times of their life, which, by the way, is almost always coupled with some of the
Something
other
else.
high stress things when
Always.
you move.
Yes.
So-
always. That's a very, very good point.
Yeah.
So
Well, and this is what I always say. And so we're going to get into how your process and all of your background really, really helps. But it's important to have affiliate partners and partners in these transactions that will also help and aid in that. Because if you don't have a lender partner or
100%.
a title partner that understands that that's also a part of our job, and they just hit the nuke button and then it comes like frisbee, like right back to you, and you're like, what the heck is going on? Like, couldn't you have like disarmed the bomb before it came back to me?
I feel that in my bones.
No, absolutely. And that's what it's so hard. But it's so hard because when people say, well, I'm just, I thank you so much for hooking me up with so-and-so. They're amazing. They've been great. I'm still going to shop the rate a little bit more. I'm like, so you've worked with them for like 14 hours and like 72 days already. And now you're going to go shop the rate, and they don't understand how much of going through that process impacts the decisions they also make during the process with future negotiations. How you handle it from the lending side is also going to dictate how we continue on to get to that closing table. So I think it's great that you have all that background. Plus, you could probably life coach me while we're doing a transaction
We're gonna
together.
be friends
Actually,
for life.
I call Brittney and I'm like, I love that. Our client sucks. And this is where we're at. Can you coach me for a minute? And then I'll send it back to you. It's fine.
Yeah, pass.
Pass.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
That's why we have each other.
It's just how it goes.
It
I mean,
is.
and to your point, Ashley, that's why it's so important that the partners we work with have our back and support us.
100%.
And you're right. Don't just drop the proverbial bomb and then
I tell my
we get a
referral partners,
phone call and no idea what's going on.
No, I'm like, I'll fall on the sword because at the end of the day, honestly, I really enjoy people and I really want them to like me. Also, there's an element of being the lender that people are like, you're in lending. I'm not going to be your friend. And I'm okay with that. So I'll fall on the sword for you because you're the realtor. You're always their friend. Like you're the quintessential person that they love. Like you get in realistically.
You see our faces? We're like,
you're like, but realistically, I'm working with them 30 to 90 days, right? You guys are working with them for a long time. So I'm like, if there has to be a bad guy, like I'll just take the fall because it's fine.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I do push-ups.
And then you do push-ups.
That's good.
Maybe you should try pickleball. That's also there's like a dopamine hit when you hit that paddle.
I'm going to have to try the pickleball.
Sounds fun.
It is.
Okay.
Have you not played either?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, well, Pickleball Kingdom's like 8 minutes from here. Okay. So maybe one
obsessed.
day, because I just played this morning, so maybe one day we'll
You play
schedule
92 times a day, so I feel like we could play.
We
Anyway,
can catch you
I
there.
digress.
We'll catch her there. It's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah. So speaking of life events and lending, you actually have some unique programs.
I do.
And normally I don't talk about those things on the show, but yours is very specialized, I feel like, to lifestyles and things that are important. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
And how you kind of got involved in that.
Yeah, that's the fun.
I feel like there's a story there too.
There is. So I work a lot with divorce lending. What that means is initially as a lender, I'm like, well, we look at the divorce decree and proceed accordingly. Why is this a thing? This shouldn't be a thing.
Right.
And then I got educated and then I actually took courses. There's courses, hours of courses and lots of details. So I was like, I had no idea that all of this existed. It just so happened that I took all of those courses and then I was getting divorced and it wasn't meant to be that way.
Yeah.
Right.
It just was like assigned to me like, hey, you'd be good at this because you like to learn new things. And I was like, they don't know I'm about to do this. And I won't go into that because it's all emotional.
Okay, so you
and all
weren't
the
studying
things.
and then got a divorce. You were getting a divorce and then went into that. Okay, got it. Got it.
But it happened kind of all at the same time.
Sure.
Kind of funny how that usually,
And it was useful, but here's what I learned. And so that was a couple years ago. And I was like, I don't want to talk about this because I'm still sad because divorce is sad always.
Sure. Of course it is.
However, even the people that are like, no, I had a party. It's like, okay, but at some point you grieved it because nobody gets married and is like, guess what? I'm going to get a divorce. And I'm really
I know I get a
excited.
cake at the end of it, but really it's not worth that.
Come on, guys. And so it's like usually there's some big things, you're working with people in domestic violence, infidelity, like usually pretty big things.
Right.
And so what I learned in the process is there's a lot in mortgage that we need to know that we don't always know. But I put it on the back burner for a couple of years because I'm like, people already don't like lenders. If I'm the lender that's like, I do divorce lending, it's like number one top way to be hated. Do
Right.
that.
Right.
I
For
don't
sure.
I don't want to be hated. But then life happened. And so then I had some really close friends who were going through something similar. Again, weird how that happens.
Right.
But
Sure.
it's like, I haven't talked to you in 15 years, but they're like, listen, I know you do mortgages. I'm getting divorced and here's the situation. So really the story that made me say, this is something I'm going to do and invest my time in because actually it matters and it's not terrible. Divorce stinks.
Sure.
But people really, really need to be cared about and cared for.
Oh my gosh.
During that process.
Absolutely.
So what happened was my friend calls me and she's like, hey, I'm about to be a single mom, have no income. I've stayed home to raise my children, and my mortgage payment is under $1,000 because we bought the house so long ago and all of these things. And she's like, but my lawyer is saying we have to sell it and divide the proceeds 50-50. We're in Texas. It's a community property state.
Sure.
Everything's 50-50, regardless of fault. We're not anyway, that's a whole other thing. So I said, no, you don't have to. And she's like, well, yeah, but so basically she's in tears thinking, I don't know where I'm going to live because I can't have a house anywhere that costs under $1,000 now.
Right.
And so what am I going to do? So I explained it to her, and for sake of time, I won't go into the details of it, but I explained to her her options on the mortgage side and how actually there is a way for her to keep the house and keep her payment and also protect him. And she's like, I don't know how to regurgitate that to my lawyer. Like, that's too many things. And I said, not a problem. I'll send you an email written to your lawyer.
Perfect.
So that you can print it and say, here you go. This is from my mortgage professional. I need you to read it. And then I want to do that. And she kept the house.
That's amazing.
He's able to buy a house. The kids didn't have to move. Everyone's taken care of. That's the point.
And that's what
everybody just have a place to live after?
Got taken care of.
Everyone. It did not affect him negatively when he went to buy his next house. That's
amazing.
Lots of misinformation.
Yeah.
And what I ultimately learned is lawyers don't know mortgage. It's not their job, but they're generally really confident and they know what they know. And they're like, well, the easiest thing to do is just sell and divide assets, right?
Right. Always.
But that's not always the best thing for the client. And so what I do for both clients, exactly. And if there's kids involved, everybody wants their kids to do well and be okay, right?
For sure.
And so what I do is I talk to them before, the whole key is before they go to mediation. Because once you go to mediation, you're done. Yeah. When you sign that, you sign the divorce decree, you're done. There is no, I didn't know this before, but there is no, like, I went to mediation, but just kidding. Is there an amendment for that?
They don't have amendments.
There's not amendments to mediations.
Darn.
So that's the thing. That's what I do.
That's amazing.
And I think that's great. And what you really focused on was, you're a solution maker.
Yes.
And I think that's what we forget so many. I have to, again, coaching my clients to sit there and say, you are making a reactionary decision based on the past and the next 5 minutes, when in turn it's my job to make sure that this next phase of life, you are teed up for success. So let's take a deep breath. Let's not focus on that instantaneous, like, flesh reaction of how we're going to do this. What does 5 years look from now? And let's make the decision through that prism. And I think that's what's huge. But people ask me, somebody asked me the other day, I think it's like 65% of people with mortgages, they're under 4%. And then like half of Americans that own homes don't even have a mortgage. Like it's staggering. Yeah. And so they were saying there, so why do people get foreclosed on? Like, I'm so confused. Why would that happen if there's so much equity in play, or they've got this low rate and low monthly? People turtle. Yeah. They get stressed. They go into their shell and they turtle and they just let it happen to them, and they take the hits. They keep on taking them, and eventually the last hit will happen and they move on, which instead you turn around and you get somebody like Brittney who stands in front of them with a shield and says, I'm going to take the hits, but we're also going to make sure you can come out on the other side and do something else.
Take steps forward.
And that's where people need to, where I get upset and sometimes it's a little indignant. I'm like, you still need to advocate for yourself, even if it's just advocating and saying, no, I want to work with Brittney, or no, I want to work with Michelle. That might be the only thing you can fight for, but just fight to work for somebody or with somebody that's going to fight for you. And that's so important.
Well, because frequently in a divorce situation, the attorney gets to select the realtor. And that's not always in anyone's best interest necessarily.
No. And even in my situation, I had a great lawyer. Also, I went toe to toe with her saying, she's like, you can't do that. And I said, I can. And here's why. And I went in like I was sending a file into underwriting. I had all my whys.
Good for you.
And I
love
was
it.
like, listen, you can do this. And this is why it's okay for everyone. And she said, I had no idea.
Yep.
I'm like,
That's
well, of course you
huge.
don't, because it's not your job, which is why we need more than one professional. I'm a big advocate of like, stay in your lane. I'm not getting in your lane. As a realtor, I'm not doing it. If it's contract, I'm not doing it. But I'm going to stay in my lane. And yes, very much an advocate of I am fighting for my people.
Yep.
Because in my lane, I'm really good at it.
Yeah.
And I will fight all the things in my lane for my people.
Sure.
Well, and again, like we discussed earlier, that's why it's so important that everyone has partners and professionals that they can work with.
Yes.
Same thing for attorneys. I mean, they need realtors, they need title companies. I'm dealing with an estate issue where the way the estate was written by the attorney doesn't jive with what the underwriters and title will allow. So
wow.
basically it was a waste of the trustees' money and time.
Yeah.
We are starting all over.
Well, and we see it so often. And again, to your point, it's not, somebody's not going in there and going, I'm going to screw this up.
Absolutely
You know,
not.
they
No.
don't. But there's so many nuances. And when beyond just what's right and just or what's going to be legal is one thing. But to your point, what an underwriter and what the lending guidelines allow are two completely different things. And let's
Absolutely.
make sure there's some sort of feathering here.
Yes.
Which is why it's really interesting that more divorce lawyers do not have asset partners
A
as
network.
much. There are
Yeah.
some that do that have
Yeah,
gotten really good
absolutely.
about saying, hey, I'm going to pay you to consult on this, so walk me through the options and I want you to do the analysis and then let's look at what's the best thing for them. And then you have so many others that are just a one-man shop. And they just ride this out on their own. So what does that look like? I mean, now you're kind of not just coin yourself as the divorce
That's
mortgage
not all
person.
I do. I do regular ones too.
No, but what
Happily married people can still get a mortgage
Yes,
from you.
And I
Okay,
believe
good.
in marriage very much.
and you'll life
okay?
coach them to stay together so they
Yes,
don't get
yes,
fractured.
will. Yes.
No.
Mental health, all the things.
Yeah. So what does that look like though for you? Do you have a good network of ancillary services or people that you can tap into some of these circumstances?
I'm starting to. So
Okay.
again, I've just embraced it because personally I was like, I don't want to embrace that. That's just, but then it mattered. So that's part of what I'm doing now is I want to know more people who are good resources for that. I have a couple, but not many.
Yeah.
So that's part of this phase is getting that
Very
team
cool.
together. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. So you're kind of growing that team and that environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's exciting.
It is exciting.
Yeah, very cool.
Let's talk about something else because I'm such a geek on this stuff. Like I might not like theology and life coaching as much, but I like to.
But you are life coachy, by the way. You were like,
I am.
this is what I do with my clients. I'm like, that's literally life coaching. She's a life coach. She just
No, I
doesn't know it.
do. I'm the angry life coach that's
She
going to
is.
start
She is.
swatting at you.
Yes,
So I'm,
that's
yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, that's
And she will.
Yeah, that's her. But I do, so much of it is not about just trying to coach somebody through something, but understanding their processor and what their drivers are.
Yes.
And it, especially being able, I used to, I was always called like a bull in a china shop because I would just have the same, process, entering into a room when you realize like that room is a mixed bag. And if you come in like, rah, like that might actually make people turtle because you're frightening them. But if you come in sitting there and saying, okay, I'm going to scan the room and I'm going to try to understand how I think this person processes information and how I need to approach them. So they listen to me and they do those things. And you came up to me and you were like, I teach a disc class and I would love to come to Metrotex and do that. And I'm like, I'm all about it because
excited.
You can take 52 disc classes
Yeah.
and doesn't mean anything like the light bulb goes off, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about that for you're like, yeah.
Been there.
Yeah, been there. I teach a lot of people the same class.
No, not them, me personally. Like I took it for a while
so
and I was
gracious.
like,
She's
I
so
don't
gracious. I love it.
understand. And then the light bulb went on because I had a person, like a coach teaching me.
Yeah.
Instead of just reading, I'm not going to just read a paper and be like, that's life changing. Probably.
I love it though.
No, and you're right. Like as we talk about coaching and coaches and life coaches, that's why a coach matters because we can all go read the same things.
We have so much info.
So much information.
Well, it's like we talked about. So I'm off the charts D, really high I, no SC. And
Nobody would have guessed that.
I understand this. I know that's great. But so here's what happens. My business partner is also.
What's in that Stanley today?
It's water. It's water.
You're just extra on fire.
It's a really pretty Stanley.
I
by
know,
the
right?
way.
I haven't seen that one.
Well, I got it on a Metrotex auction because it looks like our colors.
Oh, it's super cute though.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So from that standpoint, though, so my mom's my business partner in the brokerage.
Okay.
She's always been very high D, but very high C. And so as she's gotten older and I've gotten older, my I's been really lifted. So I'm a high DI, she's a high DC. But then when we get together, you know what comes out? The I and the C.
Of course they do.
You know, because the D drops because we're both dominant drivers.
Right.
And so then it's our secondaries are I and a C. Well, I's and C's don't
Not so
get
much.
along, you know? And so as people are like, why are you
And
talking in
she's your
letters?
mother. And it's
she's
your
my
mother.
mom.
Yeah.
Well, the I is the fun, you know, I've got all these ideas and I'm the ideas person, and the C is the controller. And they're like, I'm going to control your ideas. And now I need a prospectus and I want a list of how we're going to do it all. And I'm like, ew, you know,
She does not like a list. Let me just tell you.
no,
list.
the list is in my head, but the fact that you want me extrapolated, I'm like, that's what you're for, right?
Yeah.
And so, but it is so important. And I actually went to a disc training at one of the state conferences several years ago, and I had that epiphany of that our secondaries were really the ones that we were operating with. And I called her and she goes, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm like, okay, cool. At least I put it. So when she starts to come at me and she's like, you know, an email this long, or I'm like, Mom, and she's like,
points.
okay, sorry. Do. I'm like, great. And
Much
then, but
better.
it's the same thing with her. If I have a really awesome idea, I have to create some sort of credible pitch deck, even if it's not like a laundry list of email, to at least give her something to consume the information for a few minutes to process it. And so it's not a perfect relationship still. It's a lot better. Like I've garnered that trust to where we can keep things, you know, the wheels on the bus. But let's talk about for the last couple of minutes, because I think it's such an interesting thing. So why did you get into disc training?
Also because it changed my life.
I love it.
I do.
So I've always, again, my second choice in when I was getting a degree is like, I want to do psychology. I want to know how people think and how people are wired, because
It's fascinating.
Yes.
Because we're all so different.
And I do not weaponize it.
Don't weaponize it.
Sorry.
But it's really easy to, but don't.
It is. Yeah, don't do
So the short...
Use it as a tool.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
tool.
A positive
Yes.
tool.
Yeah.
The
A
short
pointy one.
version of a pointy one. We're going to be friends. Okay. Weapons. Okay. So what we do with it when we don't weaponize it, though I have, is there is a page in the disc profile that I use. It's about 70 pages, and there's one about communication.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it says how to communicate with Brittney and how not to communicate with Brittney. Here's how I weaponized it once. I slid it across the table and I said, you're doing all of the do nots.
Yeah.
Can you
So
look
you're
at
not
the-
supposed to highlight it and give it to your husband and go,
Yeah. So don't take that kind of advice
Okay.
from me, because
Got it.
we
That's
see
what
where
you
that ended up.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But it's very helpful for my team, because now what I do
Absolutely.
is I let them know, hey, I'm going to solve problems and I will fight for you. If you need somebody to fight for you, I am in your corner. Also, if something goes sideways, I'm just going to get to the bottom line, and I'm probably going to like accidentally blame people along the way, and then later be like, oh, it's fine. Everything's fine, but let's fix the system so we never have the stress point again. How I got into it is a business coach of mine does this all the time, and they teach you how to hire with it, how to do your job well with it. And I had like a life-changing conversation with her once. One of those where like you don't think you can have like the eye soul connection through Zoom, but you can.
yeah.
Wow.
And it just cut right to the heart of the matter in the middle of like a lot of the messy stuff right before I was getting divorced, and like things that I needed to hear. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that can all come from a personality test.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I hear a lot of people say, well, I don't want to be put in a box, and I know myself, and we're just going to get like, why do we need that? That's why we have conversations, because it's kind of like a cheat code.
It is a cheat code.
Yes.
And
it
you
gives you
see
so much
things-
clarity on who
clarity.
you are and why you did something this way.
Yes. So it's, we have blind spots, and it
Yes.
essentially it shows you the blind spots, and it's like, did you know that you do this? No, actually I didn't. Everyone around me did, but no one could tell me because I'd bite their head off because
Right,
I didn't
exactly.
do enough push-ups,
Yes, yes.
So that's where I got started. And then the background in life coaching, I'm like, oh, I see how this can actually help. And then I started teaching it to agents, and agents who work together in the same brokerage is like, oh, this is how we can work really well together.
exactly.
And this is also why we butt heads sometimes.
Yes.
And then because it also goes deeper than just the DISC, and it looks at your values, it looks at your drivers, which you talked about. And it's like, oh, this person is coming at it with this need. And so on a team level, that changes everything.
Of course it
Absolutely.
does. Well, especially, and now we're seeing a swath of multi-generations working in the same environment. I mean, Metrotech's alone, we have, 60 staff people, and, our youngest staff person's like probably 21 and our oldest is probably in their mid 70s. And you're talking about multiple generations having
They
to
have different
function.
opinions.
Oh, a lot, and different styles.
Absolutely.
Very different styles.
A lot.
There's a lot going on. But all of those things are so helpful. And I think sometimes we go, another personality test or whatever. Sometimes we need a refresher. You just said before.
Yeah. Oh, I need it so bad.
It was like 15 years ago the last time you did it. And when I took my original
send you a link.
disc,
Thank you.
I sent my original disc probably in my, like 20 years old, whatever
same.
else. And it was all D, nothing else. Like I just didn't care. Like nothing else was there.
Nothing else.
Like abandon it all. And then as an adult, I do have a little bit more SC.
Because
C,
you've lived some
but
life.
no S.
You've
Yeah.
lived
You've got
some
a lot
life
of
and
I.
you've had to learn how to deal with other people. So it's kind of brought it out in you.
Well, and you realize that, man, if I just shift a little bit how I approach the situation, our goals become aligned and we get there a lot faster and a lot less bloody.
So
and
true.
it's right.
Less
And-
pointy objects.
Yeah, less pointy objects. I mean, I've still got them in my back pocket, but
Good.
that's something where you just go, we don't have to live like heightened stress and heightened anxiety. There's enough of those things going out there. So what can I do to help myself, help the person that I'm trying to communicate with, and let's get to the end result a lot faster and a lot more palatable so we can get referrals. How about
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I love
100%.
that.
Yeah,
Love that
so-
ID.
yeah,
It's also
And get to the pickleball court.
And get to the pickleball court, and that's my eye. Let's go. Let's
Yes.
go. Play pickleball.
Yes.
So, like, kind of wrapping it up and doing everything. So this is your kind of next iteration. Doesn't mean you don't do other things, but with the disc training and helping, through mortgages, through divorce and stuff. Where do you see that next couple of years for Brittney and what you guys are doing?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, building both of those things. That's a very simple, but I'm like, I know we're limited on time, but doing more of that. So getting in front of more professionals in real estate, but also the ancillary, professions, because I really do believe in DISC. It will make your office function better. Yeah. It will make you function better. I love the self-awareness that came with it. Also, quick side note is I looked at mine and I looked at my coach and I was like, I should be better. I should have more volume than I do because look at it's a perfect sales personality profile. You told me so.
I love it.
And I said, so fix it. And they're like, okay, well, are there personal things going on? And it's like, well, yeah, like all of them. And what I learned is a high D is only really, really good at one thing at a time. So if all of your energy is going to fix personal crisis, you're not going to be a superstar salesperson.
Yeah.
So true.
And so
I've experienced that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So helping people
and
see
then
the
it
bigger
makes you
picture
feel
too.
bad. It makes you look and you're like, why am I not selling homes? Why am I not
good
doing
enough.
mortgages? What's going on? No, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Emotionally, that makes a big impact, I think, for people.
Yeah.
I feel seen. I don't know about you.
I do. I feel seen.
Good. That makes me so happy. I'm like, this
So
morning was
awesome.
so well spent.
No, it's great.
So how can people find you?
Right now, they can find me at loansbybrittney.com.
Love it.
Okay,
Yeah.
what kind of Brittney? Like how do you
Oh,
spell it?
yeah.
I'm like, I forget about
Which
that. I always
Brittney?
spell it on the phone. Brittney.
Anyway.
2 T's, anyway. That's
it.
where you can find me always.
Love
I have
it.
other ones
Brittney.com.
that are more fun and exciting, but I'll always have that because it's my name.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
I like it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, don't change your name. Be you.
Yeah. You be you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks
this was
for
fun.
having me. It was
This
so
fun.
much fun. You two are lovely.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Thanks.
lovely.
Well, this is only the first of many things we're going to do together.
Yes.
I'm very excited about all
It's
of
going to be
them.
fun.
Awesome.
Love it. Love it. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye. We did it.